This is over 300 command blocks, all coded by hand to achieve one simple goal: Bedwars. Well, it's actually Cake Wars because I think cakes are cooler and I'm able to do that. In fact, I'm able to do whatever I want with the game because I made it myself. And I documented every day of my journey in these shorts. They're probably the reason you're watching right now. I documented it all from the very first block to the simple things like a dropper and some of the less simple things like a shop system. But these 30-second shorts just don't do this project justice. So allow me to show you how I created Bedwars with only command blocks. Oh wow, look at all these command blocks behind me. It is actually insane how far the project has come. But enough of the build up, I want to get into it with you guys. And now I did make a part 1 of this video, and I'm sure a lot of you guys watched it, but if you didn't watch it, don't worry, because I wanted to make this video so that you could watch it without seeing part 1 first. But if you still got some curiosity after this video, you might want to go check out that one because it covers a lot of things that we're not going to be going over in this video. And a little reminder to you guys that, like always, I'm leaving the map download in the description of this video for free. So if you want to try it out or make some improvements, change anything you want, then go give it a download and let me know what you think. Now, where we left off, I was sounding very hopeful about the shops and I really thought that we could just use one NPC for everything. But as I started looking into it a little more, I realized that the NPCs have a limit of only 6 buttons, which kind of threw a kink in the plan, but it ended up working out. So I split it up into 4 NPCs like this so you can get the items that you need. And they're grouped by the items they sell. When you click on them, you'll get that dialogue, item shop, iron ingots, and you can just buy whatever you need. And so this one gives you some items, some wool, bow, arrow, obsidian, shears, and then iron and diamond. This is what you'd expect: the armor, pickaxe, sword. Same thing for here. And the special items guy, he's gonna sell you some very different items. I'm still kind of working out what items I want in here exactly. Right now I have things like a snowball, and I have haste and strength effect. And then breeze balls I think are pretty cool. So let's look at this code that's actually running the shop function. I'm just gonna show you down here with the pickaxe. This one's a pretty basic function. So starting up here, a lot of you guys recommended using the @initiator instead of @p, and I'm very glad you told me that because this works a lot better. And so what it will do is it will test if your player has the items to buy it. And so for this one, you need gold ingots and you need 15 of them. And I put it between 15 and 10,000. Because that way you can have 15 or you can have more than 15, which is really what we want to be testing for. 10,000 is just a big number, so I figured it would work. And if they do have enough stuff, we give them a tag that says item. Now you'll see here, if they don't have the item tag, that means they didn't have enough, and we're just going to play a sound, you see, to let them know that they don't have enough resources, so they have to try again. Now moving on, if they do have the tag, that means they have enough resources, so we're gonna give them the diamond pickaxe, then we're gonna take the iron ingots from them, and then we're gonna get rid of that tag. Now this all happens really fast, so the tag is kind of just a placeholder to let you know that you do have the items or you don't have the items, and then once we've gone through all the conditions, we remove that tag. It seems a little convoluted when I have to explain it like this, but I promise guys, it's actually pretty simple. And if you don't understand it, you can just copy the code because it works really well and it's an easy shop system. Now I also want to show you guys here, if you do it for armor, like I have the helmet here, it's pretty much the same, except for instead of giving them the item, we're gonna replace the item, just a helmet right on their head. And then over here in the specials, I have added some effects like haste and strength effect. And let's look at the strength to show you how that one's gonna work. This line of code, it's really just giving you a tag. It says tag add strength, or the other one for haste is gonna give you the haste tag. And then I also had it play the XP orb sound to give you a confirmation that it's actually happening. And then I just have a couple command blocks back in the big command dungeon. These are just giving you that effect if you have the tag. It's pretty simple. It's a real easy way to do that. All right, I'm gonna go through the shop and just show you guys real quickly how some of them work. So I'm gonna give myself some gold and some resin was my high tier. I'm gonna hop into adventure mode. I think the game is actually played in survival. And so we'll see here if I wanna buy a diamond pickaxe, it will take some of my gold and it will give me the pickaxe. And then let me show you right here. I have no armor on right now, but if I buy a chest plate, it takes a lot of my gold and it puts it right on my body. Now, if I try to buy something with iron, like leggings, you'll see I get that sound to let me know I don't have enough. And then same with that special, if I want to buy the haste effect, then you get that sound. It also takes my resin, and then boom, you'll see in the right hand corner, I get the haste effect. You're going to see the particles on my screen, and you open the menu, you can see it. It all works well. Now this shop has been working pretty well in my playtesting. Join the Discord if you want to help me playtest, by the way. But I do think some revisions will be made. I did at one point play around with the idea of ditching it for a chest shop, which worked all right, but it just seemed so boring in comparison to these, you know? I don't know, maybe it's worth revisiting, but the shop was working great, so I turned my focus over to the start and the death sequence. So I brought us back here to the lobby, and you're gonna notice one big difference is that I've added this parkour path. So let me show you what's going on here, because I thought this was actually a pretty cool idea. And so this is the start sequence. You have to jump across those islands, and then you come here and you'll pick up this block to start the game. You'll get that message in the corner, you'll get teleported, and it'll all start going like this. Now, since I don't have anybody playing with me, it's just gonna end like that. Now what's going on here with this block is it's actually an invisible armor stand, like you probably guessed. And right there, you can see it's holding this block. So when you come up, you'll click on the armor stand to pick up that block. And I guess this isn't really necessary, but I thought it was pretty cool. And it was nice to get a break from just the straight Bedwars commands to make this thing work. And that's all really taken care of in this line of command blocks that's kind of crammed in here. Really all it's doing is it's testing if that armor stand is still holding the block, and if it isn't, it knows that someone picked it up, it's time to start, and it'll just do all the tags and teleporting and everything. Pretty simple. And now I'm gonna start it up because I want to show you guys what these custom death sequences are like. All right, so as you can see, we got the game going. All right, so we can buy some wool here. And I need to show you guys myself dying. I need to show you guys what it looks like to die. So I'm going to try and speed bridge. Oh. Ooh-hoo-hoo. All right, I killed myself because I'm actually too goated to dive. But there you go. And you're going to see automatic respawn puts you in that box. And it tells you a respawn countdown. You get sent right back here. Now it looked like I had keep inventory on, I actually don't, but since there's no one else on my team, it just puts you right back on the dropper, and I picked up a bunch of items, and then it resets you with this base kit. All right, so I've hopped back in creative to show you guys what's going on here, but underneath your cake, you're gonna notice there's these couple command blocks, and these are just testing to see if your cake it has been eaten. And then if it's been eaten, it's gonna, give you a tag saying that you're out, and the game will stop respawning you. So let me show you what that looks like here. You'll get that message, you'll get that sound effect. It's pretty cool. And then after all of that happens, let me hop back into survival here to kill myself, to die. And then you'll see right there, it tells you you're spectating now, and it puts you in spectator mode so you can watch people play, or more likely you'll probably just go off and get a little snack while you wait for everybody else to die. And if you want to, you can use this as an opportunity to explore the command blocks. I think, there's a few Easter eggs for you guys to find. But that's the gist of it. And then once there's one team remaining, it will just end the game. All right, so let me show you what's actually going on here with the death sequence. And that's what this black box is actually about. Now, what this does is when you die, you'll automatically get respawned right there. And then I have all these command blocks testing for if a player is inside of there. Now, if you're in there, it's gonna see if you have a cake or not. And as long as you have a cake, it'll start the respawn sequence. That's what all these command blocks are doing, but most of it's really just counting down from 5. And then after 5 seconds, it's going to teleport you back into the game with the fresh kit. Now, if you're not in the game, obviously it just tells you you're spectating, and then it puts you in spectator mode. Pretty simple, but I think it works really well. And it was actually a little bit of a tricky problem to figure out since it's hard to execute commands on people once they're dead. Now, once I had the death and start sequence squared away, and I'd pretty much completed the shop portion of the game, my progress lulled for a couple of days. I ironed out a few parts of the game, like what items to sell in the shop, and I added a few minor features like custom sound effects, but the next major portion I had to address was the generator. Now, if you're a longtime viewer, you probably know I actually had a prototype for the generator working all the way back in day 1 of this series. But in reality, that was really just a structure block. So I started redesigning the whole thing from the ground up. So the first thing that I determined when making it was which items I wanted to use. And I landed on these 3 items based on the comments from you guys. And then I took one material from each of these and I put it inside of a structure block so that we could summon it later. And loading this structure was the foundation of how this dropper works, but it got a little trickier when I had to give out the tier 2 and tier 3 items to the players, the gold and the resin, because I have to make sure that these resources are going to the right team who captured the island. So when you capture an island like this, you're gonna get the animation, and then this whole island is given the tag of Cyan so that we know that that island is captured by Cyan. Now, when we come here to the Cyan base, you're gonna see that now we're getting those gold items as well. But basically, How this portion is working is instead of summoning the item at the base, we're summoning the structure at each point. And if that point has a color associated with it, meaning that a team has captured that island, then it's going to move the structure from that island to whichever team has captured it. And then it will just summon the item at the base. It sounds a little confusing, but I think that's the best I can really explain it. Pretty much you just need to understand that it's summoning the items from the island and then putting them at the base that that island is owned by. In the end, it always just looks like the item is coming out of this base, but I want you guys to understand how this is actually working. Pretty much the same thing for resin, but it only comes out of that middle base and it just goes to whoever has captured it. And I also added this one feature where if you're standing over it, it's going to switch from the structure to a /give command, where it's just going to put it directly in your inventory. And this is so that when you have multiple teammates all standing on the dropper at the same time, everybody's getting an item instead of just one item that you have to scramble for. And with all these commands in place, the dropper actually worked exactly as I intended first try, which is a rare luxury in this game. Now with this component finished, it seems like all the components of a Bedwars game. And it is, except the hardest part of all, resetting everything. Now let me explain. It's relatively simple to create a mini game that you can play once. It's a fun experience, and I really think everybody should try it at least one time. But making a minigame that will automatically reset so that you can play it over and over again, well, that's kind of the hard part. Now, even on these very first command blocks, I did plan for it by giving tags and trying to set myself up so it wouldn't be so hard to loop when I got to the end of everything. But, you know, foresight is only so good, and it actually wasn't very helpful. So basically, the reset process can be broken down into two parts, the players and the map. Now the map is actually pretty simple because you can see up here, I've got a border around our whole map, and then I've got some structure blocks right here as well. And these structure blocks are just loading one corner of the map so that it can be reset when we need to. Now these armor stands are just so that I can put a redstone block on it and then take a redstone block off to reset it. And you might think having that border above the map is gonna look kind of ugly, but in practice, when you're actually down here on the map like this, it's hard to see. And if you have clouds on, I bet none of you guys would have ever noticed if I didn't tell you. Now resetting the players, that's the more difficult part. So the first part to resetting it was testing for when the game is over. So I created this scoreboard on the right here. It's called players left, which is misleading because it's testing how many teams are left, not how many players. It's gonna test how many teams there are by choosing one player from each team to count the scoreboard up one tick. Now I'm the only one in this world, so it's only one team, but if there were more, it would go up to 2 or 3, right? And so when there's only one team left, then we know the game is over, and you'll see it'll give you that sound effect, and then it will tell you you win. And that's what the players are gonna see, but at the same time, it's also going to be removing a lot of tags and turning off some of the components such as the dropper. Yeah, see, all of these are removing tags from the players. And it also resets all the islands so that they're white. Basically just a lot of cleanup. And with all that in place, it seemed like the sun was setting on this project. I had made Bedwars with only command blocks, just like all the shorts say. But of course, there's always hiccups when testing the game, and that's why I've been working with you guys to play test the game and make it the best that it can be. So I'll be updating the map download as I improve it to make sure you guys have the best possible game. So check that out in the description. And if you want to become a part of this project and try the Bedwars map, then head over to my Discord server where I play test my creations with a bunch of other stuff. And if you sign up to become a super supporter of the channel, you get priority to come play with me and test my latest projects before anyone else. And it really helps me out too. So like always, if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like and maybe check out this video. And be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more commands content on your YouTube. And I'll see you in the next one.